What is happening? I'm N64 Josh, and this is going to be a review of the SN30 from 8BitDo. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. Oh, here it is. Looks like a Super Nintendo controller. Packaging is really nice, I gotta say. I'm really pretty pleased with how 8BitDo packages their stuff. So here we go. Thing for the first time. There it is. 8BitDo SN30 Pro. Feels pretty good. Now, keep in mind the D-pad and the buttons are off-centered from where they would be on like a, on the SN30, okay, or on the Super Nintendo controller, because they had to make a little bit of room for the sticks. Now, is that going to be an issue? I can kind of tell that I'm going to run into the sticks a little bit, which I've seen some people mention that before, that is an issue for them. But let's go ahead and hook this thing up to the Switch and test out some games. We'll test out Tetris 99, maybe a little Cuphead, and see how it feels. Now, I will say this: the two sticks on mine, the left stick is a little bit sticky. Like, it feels like it almost needs to be broken in a little bit. Like, I don't know, like maybe something's just a little bit too tight. This is interesting. I don't think it's going to affect gameplay all that much, but the stick doesn't go back to center as fast. The left stick does not move back to center as fast as the right stick. So, something to keep in mind. But we want to test the D-pad here. Let's jump into Tetris 99, and let's see here. Go play again. It is kind of, I mean, it's a Super Nintendo controller. The thing looks really cool, right? It looks really cool. I'm digging it, but it is a little weird. The sticks feel like they could stick just a little bit. Now, I'm really not a fan of sticks that are just in the center. I like them offset, like the Xbox controller or the Switch Pro controller, personally. But the main thing with this one for playing Super Mario Maker is you've got the D-pad, you've got the ability to capture screenshots, as you can see right there, and this goes back to the home screen if you want. So far, D-pad feels good. Just jumping in initially, I kind of like the overall feel of it. Like, it almost feels a little less spongy than, let's say, the SN30. The SN30 had a little bit of a spongy feel to it. Is this quite as good as the SNES Classic controller? I'm not sure. We'll go head to head with it here shortly. But so far, no misinputs, which is nice. So this controller is feeling good, and my initial concern of kind of hitting the sticks, yeah, my thumb is brushing against them periodically. Does that feel or seem like a deal breaker to me? Not really. I mean, they're there. What for the size and the shape of the controller, it's kind of expected. So, but it is happening. If that's something that's going to be that would be a deal breaker for you, or something that would frustrate you, just keep that in mind. That I am feeling the sticks periodically. It's not every single time, but I am feeling them periodically. So, overall though, it still feels comfortable. It still feels comfortable. I'm not like hating the design or hating the fact that my fingers or my thumbs are just touching the sides of the stick. It's not that big a deal. So we can go back to the home menu here. We could jump into some Cuphead, see how it feels. I do like the D-pad. Let's see. I'm gonna grab the SNES Classic controller and we will compare these two head to head here, just to see kind of how they feel, how the D-pads feel. Okay, so I have the SNES Classic controller in my hand right now. So I think the overall feel of the D-pad is that it's a little bit shorter, like it doesn't feel as tall, and it just has that good like Nintendo D-pad feel that you've come to know and expect, right? And then jumping into this one, it just feels just a little bit taller, and just kind of looking at them, you can see, I mean, it's minuscule, but your thumb will pick it up. It's a little bit taller of a D-pad. But the overall feel of it isn't bad. It's just that it's a little bit taller. So let's jump into Cuphead here and see how Cuphead feels with the SN30 Pro. Now, again, this is another game that I would primarily want to be using my D-pad for, and Mario Maker is going to be a game that I primarily want to use my D-pad. The one thing to keep in mind with the shape of this controller and things like that is I do have a little bit of concern just with the overall, like, is this going to, you know, cause my hands to cramp up or things like that. So, and that could be the case just from not having the extra grips coming down the side. So, you know, who knows? But let's jump into Cuphead, see how the D-pad feels, and we got a little boss battle here. And I mean, really, that first little hit I took, that was just me. That wasn't the controller. And Cuphead really feels like a game that you'd want to play with the Super Nintendo controller. You know, it really does feel like that. So overall, this feels good. You know, of course, playing with it over time, that may change. And I have had some people reach out to me that said their SN30 Pro, the D-pad wasn't very responsive. And I mean, you know, you may run into issues like that. That was just one person. So, like I said, the sticks do feel like they kind of just need to be worn in a little bit. But that felt good. That felt good. So I will continue using these controllers, and I will let you guys know in a final update. But I think for Mario Maker, I think you have a viable option here. The D-pad felt good. I guess one last test we could do is let's just jump into Super Mario Brothers 3 and see how it feels. Be a good test as well. Something to keep in mind, like I like to keep a thumb on the way I typically play. Like if I was playing this like on the Super Nintendo, like on Mario All-Stars, I would be holding down Y to run and then using B to jump. That's always been my preferred method of play. Now, this game doesn't allow that, and I don't believe you can modify the settings. So the simple workaround is that I just hold down X to run and then I use A to jump. Right? So because B essentially does the same thing as X or Y, I think. And Y doesn't actually do anything. So you've got the two options there, which is nice. The buttons have they kind of have a clicky feel to them. They almost, I think they're a little bit louder than the actual like Super Nintendo controller. That seems to be the case for sure. I don't know if you guys if it's getting picked up in the mic or not, but I'm gonna grab the Super Nintendo controller again, and we'll just kind of go test the buttons right next to each other. Okay, so I am holding the SNES Classic controller, and yeah, there's a less clicky feel. They're a little more, I guess you would say, spongy, but not in a bad way whatsoever. They are quieter. It does just, I mean, look, you've got Nintendo's quality, Nintendo's feel is right there. The SN30 Pro, it's a little bit different. Not necessarily bad, just different. So keep that in mind. It is a little more, you know, if you are streaming or making content, things like that, you'll probably have these clicks coming through, so that may be a factor for you to think about, right? So but overall, I'm fairly pleased with the way this controller feels, the look of it. Playing a game like this where I'm using X and A, my right thumb is nowhere near the stick, so I'm not even close to hitting it, which is nice. Okay, so we're gonna jump into a little bit of Mario Kart. I want to test out my sticks. Like I said, the left stick feels like it just kind of sticks when you go to the left. Now it's still returning back to 0, but it's not as fast. You can hear it the way it sounds. Like it's just not quite as quick. So I'm gonna test this thing out in a couple of races of Mario Kart. We're gonna jump right in on 200cc because you know what? Why not? Why not? So here we go. Again, so that stick feeling a little bit tight. Doesn't seem to be affecting anything though. So, and again, I haven't heard most people I hear talk about this controller. They absolutely love it. Like they adore it, like, no, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like they really like these controllers. So I think I just happened to get one that had a little bit of a sticky left stick, and that's just the way it goes. But overall, that felt good. So I still think that this is it's not really hindering my review of it. Do I wish it bounced back quicker? Sure. Do I feel like it's going to break in over time? More than likely. And if something happens, if it starts to stick or whatever, I will definitely update this video. Overall, I think this controller is pretty good, and I'm excited to have it as part of my collection and to check out Mario Maker 2 with it. Once Mario Maker 2 drops, guys, you're going to have a handful of videos where I'm going to test all these controllers side by side so that you can make the absolute best decision for what you want to play with. But right now, this feels like another decent option. So, and I mean, ultimately, I wish that the Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch, the D-pad feels good. It's just that you end up getting some missed inputs due to the way the sensors are. So I will be working on a mod for that. But as far as the 8BitDo SN30, I think this is a pretty good controller. You will notice that things feel a little bit different just because they're higher up. But other than that, it's not really that big a deal. So if you're a fan of playing retro games, things like that, and keep in mind, this controller also has the gyro, so you could play Splatoon with it if you're using motion controls. You could jump into Fortnite. You got your two sticks here. So this is essentially another Pro controller, which is nice, and it's about $20 or so less than the actual Pro controller. So that's a bonus as well. So if you want to pick one of these up, I will have an Amazon affiliate link in the description. And I want to thank you guys for watching. You got any questions, comments? Let me know down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.